Good morning everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you're making the most out of your self-isolation. Put together a 15-minute morning stretch routine for you to follow. Anyone can do it, it's just nice and gentle. I thought it would be a good idea for us to grab some good habits and get them going whilst we've got the time, so that when we do eventually go back to real life, whenever that is, we've got good habits to sort of carry on into our daily routine. So all you will need is your mat, a little bit of space. You won't need too much of a space. You do it first thing in the morning when you get up, so make your cup of coffee, make your cup of tea, bring it to the mat with you, and we will get cracking. Okay, the first stretch we're going to start with our basic cat-cows. So we're going to come onto our hands and our knees, and just make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are hip width apart. Nice rectangular base there. So fingers spread nice and wide. We're going to push our hands into the mat so our arms become straight, and we're going to push our spine up to the top, up towards the ceiling. So drop the head and relax the neck. Think about tucking the tailbone in and drawing the belly button upwards. Good, now keeping the arms straight, you're going to let the tummy fall towards the floor, shoulders come back, so we can gently lift the head. So we're going to inhale, arch, tuck the tailbone in. Exhale, let the belly relax. So we're not trying to arch the back too much when we drop the belly. Just getting some flexion and extension in the spine. So you're going to do that one for around 30 seconds, maybe carry it on for about 45 if you're feeling a little bit stiff. The next one we're going to do is we're then going to take our head over to the left hand side of the body. So we're looking over the shoulder, we're not moving any part of our body apart from our head. So just getting the spine to move side to side now. Inhaling as you come to the middle, exhale as you look over to the side. Now we're going to add the feet into the mix. We're just going to bring the feet into view, almost like you're wagging your tail. Still working on that breathing. Now we're going to go into child's pose. So you'll know this if you do regular yoga. So have your knees separated and then pop your bum on your feet. So the idea is to glue your bum to your feet, but it will naturally start to rise. Our heads down to the mat. So my hands are walking forward. Again, my fingers are spread nice and wide. So I'm getting a nice upper back stretch. And I'm just going to relax my head on the mat, keeping those arms nice and straight. Thinking about gluing the tailbone down towards the feet. And just breathe in this position, breathe in this stretch. We're going to keep our bum where it is, but we're going to walk the hands over to the left hand side. Walk them over as far as you can. Really keeping that top arm lengthened, so all the way from your fingertip, all the way down the side of your body, down to your hip. You want to create as much space as possible. So just opening up the right hand side of the body now. Nice deep breaths into that lung on the right. Expanding that rib cage. Your hands over to the right hand side as far as you can go, keeping the arms straight, dropping the head, relaxing the neck. Nice deep breaths. Then coming back to the middle. Stretch we're going to do, we're going to start to open up the hip. The The next stretch we're going to come into is to start opening up the hips. We're going to get the upper body moving as well. Hands on your knees, and you're going to step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Back knee is still on the floor, and your foot isn't pointing forward. We're just going to gently point it out diagonally, not too wide, towards the top end of your mat, because that's going to start to open up your hip. And try not to hold on to your tension here. A lot of people have tight hips. That's completely normal. What you can do is start to roll the foot so you come onto the outside, and then your knee's just going to drop out a little bit wider, breathing into that stretch. Again, you're going to hold that for about 30 seconds, and we're going to roll the foot back up. You take the left hand and pop it on the thigh, gently push into it so we can start to turn the body. So my right arm is staying straight, that's stabilising me. I'm pushing my left hand into the thigh so I can twist my chest and roll my left shoulder back so I can start to look behind me. Gently release and come back. I'm going to tuck the back toes under so you can just lift up that leg, and then we're going to switch sides. So next what we want to do is start to stretch the hamstrings. So mine are feeling particularly tight today, so it's going to be something that I need to do. Step my left foot forward, the back leg, toes stay tucked under, because what we want to do is we want to start to walk back the hands so that we can come back and our front foot now becomes flexed. We're only going to stay there for a few seconds because then we're going to walk forward, push into the hip, walk it back. Again, breathe. What you need to do is try and get your chest down rather than forward. So send your hips backwards so your chest comes down a little bit lower. Walking it forward. You're going to do this about 10 times. You don't necessarily want to sit on the foot at the back because you're going to lose that tension in the hamstring, which is what we want to give it a stretch.
Thought it would hurt less if I was the one to end it. I'm used to the darkness, but this time it's feeling different. So let all your friends know that I'm the reason you second guess anyone else, but anyone else. Maybe it's my fault. I took you so high, didn't think this through. Oh, your parachute, sorry I couldn't choose how. I'm letting you down. So pull your parachute, let the wind swallow you now. It's safe on grounded ground. No one told me it would be this hard.
The next stretch we're going to look at doing is to again work on that hip mobility. Bring the legs, the abductors, adductors into it as well. Nice side to side movement, and it's just going to loosen up any tightness we have. If you struggle to get down to a low position, you can use something just to pop your hands on. If you've got yoga blocks or a cushion or just something you can just stabilize yourself with. Come down to a nice wide squat and take hold of the inside of just above the ankle joint. So my arms are on the inside of my legs because then I can start to encourage them outwards. Nice flat back, try not to hunch over, so shoulders rolled back. Gently rocking side to side into the hips. Try and keep that nice steady breath. So I'm going to pop the hands on the floor, take the feet a little bit wider. We're going to bend to one side, so both my feet are flat on the floor at the moment. Just going to walk it over to the other side.
this out. I'm letting you out. So pull your parachute.
You're starting to ease into the stretch. You can start to lift the straight leg, lift that foot off the floor, pop it down, and then over to the other side. So my leg that's bent, the foot always stays flat.
No one told me it would be this hard to watch you fall.
The last stretch we're going to look at adding into our routine is for our upper body, chest, and opening up the shoulders. You're going to take your right hand out to the side, so palm facing down, and your left hand is going to be next to your chest, nice and close to the body. We're going to look at the left hand, and we're going to push the left hand into the mat so that we can lift the left leg over. So if you can get your left foot flat on the floor, go for it. If you can't, just come up onto your toe. And the idea here is to open up the right hand shoulder and the pec. Coming back over and then onto the other side. So left hand is going to come out, right hand next to the chest, lifting up the right leg. Thank you for joining me for the morning stretch. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you make it part of your daily routine. I will see you on the mat every Tuesday and Friday whilst we're in quarantine on Instagram Live. Follow my Instagram page at Freedom Fitness UK. There's a link somewhere on my YouTube page, and I will see you very soon. Bye.